Greetings, BookTube. Welcome back to the History Shelf. You know me. My name is Peg. So it's Friday here in the outskirts of Denver, Colorado, and we're going to be having a heat wave today through all weekend. It's supposed to hit 103 here today, if you can believe that. Let me double check to see. Yes, heat advisories all the way through Sunday. We're going to have 103 all through Sunday. So that means I'm going to be indoors a lot, because even on the patio with the umbrella up, it is sweltering and it's hard to read out there in that type of heat. So I'll be finding a cool reading spot within the house. But anyway, thanks for joining me for this informal Friday Reads video, which also includes a special offer, a special appeal, announcement of sorts. But I wanted to recommend to you, and I have before in this channel, many of you know that I'm a freelance book reviewer, and one of the outlets that I write for is BookBrowse, an online book review site. It works off of membership, and it is a wonderful, the quality of book reviewing on that site is top-notch. And I'm not saying that because I write for them. We've got a wonderful slate of reviewers there and editors. But I wanted to let you know that we have a special link in the description box below, so that if you wanted to check out BookBrowse, you can get $5 off. And the way registration works, I'm kind of pulling up their website as I'm talking to you so I can give you the information. But first I should say that BookBrowse they're dedicated to bringing you the best of the best, because they know that there are so many books just flooding the market. They've been around for more than 20 years, and I'm good friends with the founding editors of BookBrowse, and they're currently also looking at doing a redesign on their logo. So stay tuned for that, because I kind of got a sneak preview of some of the choices they had, and I was able to vote on the logo that I liked best. But they're going to be doing a redesign on that, but it's going to be it's a whole new world for BookBrowse, and I'm really excited for BookBrowse. But yes, they've been around for more than 20 years, and they just give you all the information you need to know. They've got in-depth reviews. We've got Beyond the Book articles that takes you a little bit further beyond on a certain topic. Plenty of material around the books that they're reviewing, written material that our reviewers do. You can join book clubs. You can have discussions with these book clubs. There are offers they kind of send out every now and then. Previews of notable books publishing soon. They do they give resource guides for book clubs, so you can have questions. Tons of stuff. I'm just going to point you to the website. I really just, based upon our relationship as viewers and as your history gal here, I just say, please just check out the website. Look at all the different tabs that they offer. They have articles, read-alikes, discovery, quizzes, blogs, everything. But and then the membership price is so affordable. Well, I don't want to say that, because we don't, not everyone has the same, situation. So I get that. But you could sign up for, say, a 3-month membership, and it would be only $5 per month. Okay? And then a 1-year membership takes it down to $3.75 a month, which is a total of $45 a year, which includes 22 issues of the digital magazine. And you would always have access and see my writing there, if you so desire. But anyway, with the link below, it's going to give you $5 off. So if you wanted a full year, it's going to be $40, But anyway, check it out. Check out the link. And in a way, it will come back. I don't know how it's going to work out, but the code might point back to me. And it might also help me out a little bit, guys. So we just wanted to see how it will work. I'll be including this link in my description, my comments box on all future videos. So in case you kind of forget to check it out on this one, but you remember on the next video, just go into the description box, look for that link for BookBrowse, get your $5 off, help out your History Shelf gal here, help Peggy get more books. No, no. Martine says she needs some support therapy if I get any more books, and so, so she's like, you could be contributing to her mental her mental well-being with that. No, I know we always joke about that, but anyway, so that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to pitch that to you. BookBrowse, $5 off. Become a member. Check out all the cool books that they recommend. They review, book clubs, discussions, and so much more. Plus, you'll always be keyed into my reviews if you are so interested and inclined. BookBrowse is one of my outlets where I do longer form writing, so it's very important to me. With a BookBrowse review, I typically will write around 800 to 900 word reviews of books, and then an additional 600 or odd word beyond the book article. So I put a lot of work into these reviews, a lot of research. So I'd be thrilled to get more readers on my reviews. So check out BookBrowse. Do Peg a favor, and just consider it. So thank you very much for listening on that. Okay, so we're going to move on to just talking about, I've been meaning to make a chatty video about things I'm reading, things I have read. So let's see here. Let's start with things I've read recently. And I think I've mentioned them in the last video. I showed you the massive John Quincy Adams biography that I recently read. It was fantastic. I don't know if I've mentioned this one to you, but this one's coming out in September. I've read this new book, A Hell of a Storm, The Battle for Kansas, The End of Compromise and the Coming of the Civil War by David S. Brown. This is put out by Scribner, and it'll be out September 17th. I've written a review for that, and that should be, I think, oh wait, that's out right now. So I need to put that out on my social. But anyway, this was a really good book, actually. At first I'm like, we've said so much about, bleeding Kansas and the coming of the Civil War and all this stuff, but this book took a different approach. It included all areas of society. It included, well, let me just frame it. It really kind of circles around the Kansas-Nebraska Act. And what David S. Brown is saying is that, no piece of legislation was more dire than the Kansas-Nebraska Act, because that basically ruptured every fragile compromise that had been going on and radicalized the wavering Whig Party on anti-slavery. Well, it killed the Whigs and basically led to the rise of the radical Republicans, who were anti-slavery and mostly abolitionist. So he goes into that and he frames it like that, but then he goes into the culture and where people were reacting to the Kansas-Nebraska Act in literature. We're talking, he has really fascinating portraits of Harriet Beecher Stowe, when she wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, right? It was a response. He kind of ties it into, and it's all around the year 1854 when these debates were going on about the Kansas-Nebraska Act. So around that time, and he was talking about, Walden was written by Thoreau, or he was in the midst of writing it. He kind of talks about, let's see here, Ralph Waldo Emerson and his anti-slavery lectures kind of really took off after the Kansas-Nebraska Act. So he includes all these different threads, so it's not all politics and congressional debates. He gives a really holistic picture of what was going on in 1854 across the culture and the society of, a union that was basically coming apart at the seams. So I really, really enjoyed this book. The more I read into it, and then it really branched out and started talking about different works of literature and the great minds of the age. I really appreciated it. In fact, I kind of want to get a finished copy of this now, because I think this is one I'd like to keep on my shelf and read again at some point. So, A Hell of a Storm by David S. Brown. I can highly recommend that one. This one was kind of different. I wrote a review for this for Historical Novels Review. It's not out yet, but this is a novel I recently finished, Life After Kafka by Magdalena Pletsova, translated by Alex Zucker. And let's see here. I'm not sure if I read to you about this just yet. It says here, Franz Kafka scholars know Felice Bauer, his one-time fiancée, through his letters to Felice, as little more than a woman with a raucous laugh and a taste for bourgeois comforts. Bourgeois, whatever. Life After Kafka is her story. The novel begins in 1935 as Felice flees with her children from Hitler's Berlin, following her family and members of Kafka's entourage as they try to escape the horrors of the Holocaust. Years later, a man claiming to be Kafka's son approaches Felice's son in Manhattan, and the drama surrounding Kafka's letters to Felice begins. This was it was different, for sure. I think if you're a Kafka fan, you would enjoy this. It kind of goes, it imagines the... Well, it's interesting. There's a blend of novel and then the author inserts herself into the narrative at some point, and it was really distracting. But I'm going to post my review once it's available from Historical Novels Review, so you can read my review. But kind of gives an inside look at how the letters to Felice were procured by the Jewish publisher. Solomon Schocken books, which are still publishing great titles. I've got several of them, and although this one's coming out by Bellevue Literary Press, but anyway, it kind of talks about how Felice's letters were attained by Schocken books, but it's kind of an odd mixture of memoir, fiction, nonfiction. So yeah, not sure how I feel about it, but slim little read. But check out my review when I post it on my social accounts, and that'll be as soon as the August issue of Historical Novels Review is ready. What else? Another book I've reviewed, yes, and I really loved. I know I've read two of this author's books, and I believe I've written 2 reviews on those books. But either way, now I've written a third, kind of following her stuff, although I missed her third book. I have not read Atalanta, but Jennifer Saint has another wonderful reimagining of the Greek gods. So another mythological novel from Jennifer Saint, Hera, which I was so excited to see because I've always felt bad for Hera. She had to put up with Zeus's you-know-what for so many years. This book is coming out August 13th from Flatiron Books. I loved Ariadne. I think that was her first one. Electra was pretty good. It's okay. I haven't read Atalanta, but I'm going to get my hands on that. But Hera, this was fantastic. I really enjoyed this book. I'll read you the quick synopsis. When the immortal goddess Hera and her brother Zeus overthrow their tyrannical father, she dreams of ruling at his side. But as they establish their reign on Mount Olympus, Hera begins to see that Zeus is just as ruthless and cruel as the father they betrayed. While Zeus ascends, Hera is relegated to the role of wife and mother, a role she never wanted. She was always born to rule, but must she lose herself in perpetuating this cycle of violence and cruelty? Or can she find a way to forge a better world? In this enthralling retelling, Greek mythology's most famous and maligned goddess finally tells her own story as power, passion, and divine strength collide in the heart of Olympus. So August 13th, Hera, Jennifer Saint. I really, really had a fun time reading that one. I flew through it. And then let's see here. This review should be coming out shortly. I've read and reviewed this for BookBrowse. So it's going to be on BookBrowse, folks. And if you would like to get access to my full review, use that link below and get $5 off and get access to my full review and Beyond the Book article. This is a brand new work, a debut novel by Henry Wise, and it's called Holy City. So I'm not going to give away too many details about my review. I would rather have you read it on BookBrowse, but I'll give you the synopsis of this story. After a decade of exile precipitated by the tragic death of his mother, Will Seams returns home from Richmond to rural Southside Virginia, taking a job as deputy sheriff in a landscape given way to crime and defeat. Impoverished and abandoned, this remote land of tobacco plantations, raised forests, and boarded-up homes seems stuck in the past, in a state that is trying to forget its complex history and move on. Will's efforts to go about his life are wrecked when a mysterious, brutal homicide claims the life of an old friend, Tom Janders, forcing Will to face the true impetus for his return. Not to honor his mother's memory, but to pay a debt to a black friend who, in an act of selfless courage years ago, protected Will and suffered permanent disfigurement for it. Meanwhile, a man Will knows to be innocent is arrested for Tom's murder, and despite Will's pleas, his boss seems all too content to wrap up the case. Will must weigh his personal guilt against his public duty when the local black community hires Benico Watts, an unpredictable private detective from Richmond, to help him find the real killer. It would seem an ideal pairing. She has experience, along with plenty of sand, and Will is privy to the details of the case. But it doesn't take long for either to realize they much prefer to operate alone. Benico and Will clash as they each defend their untraditional ways on a wild ride that wends deep into the Snakefoot, an underworld wilderness that for hundreds of years has functioned as a hideout for outcasts, the forgotten and neglected and abused, leaving us enmeshed in the tangled history of a region and its people that leaves no one innocent, no one free, nothing sacred. Holy City by Henry Wise. Here is our author. Yes, his first novel. Congratulations. And my review should be posted in the next day or two. So stay tuned on my social media accounts where I post these things. This is coming. Oh, and this is put out by, the publisher is Atlantic Monthly Press. So that was a recent read. I can say that it was a page turner. I definitely enjoyed it. I do have some questions, but read my review. Okay. And then I flew through this, like in a weekend and wrote a review of it for Shelf Awareness, just because I love these type of stories, because they're kind of creepy, they're kind of spooky, you don't know what's going on, but it's really kind of a locked room mystery. In this case, in a very different type of room. I can heartily recommend this book. I enjoyed it so much. This is Will Dean's upcoming new novel, The Chamber. Will Dean wrote The Last Thing to Burn and also The Last One and Firstborn. This book is coming out from Emily Bessler / Atria Books. It comes out August 6th, so next few weeks. The Chamber. What is this about? I will tell you. 6 experienced saturation divers are locked inside a hyperbaric chamber. Calm and professional, they know that rapid decompression would be fatal, and so they work in shifts, breathing helium and surviving in hot, close quarters. Then one of them is found dead in his bunk. With 4 days of decompression to go before the locked hatch to the chamber can be safely opened, the group must watch one another's backs at all times. And when another diver is discovered unresponsive, everyone is on edge. What or who is taking them out one by one? And will any of them still be alive by the time the 4 days is up, or will paranoia, exhaustion, suspicion, and pressure destroy them all? Yes. So, The Chamber by Will Dean. Page turner. I got so fascinated by saturation divers and what they do while I was reading this, that I was looking up YouTube videos and checking out how they live in these hyperbaric chambers, which is funny because when they're in the hyperbaric chamber, their voices are, and they're breathing helium, so everyone sounds like that. You know what I mean? They sound like a chipmunk. So it's kind of hard when you're reading the book and they're having discussions and you're trying to imagine them having these discussions with the helium voice. That was kind of hard, so I kind of just eschewed that. But all of it was just fascinating, the work they do on the floor of the ocean, just or the seas. This one is set in the North Seas, off the coast of Scotland. But yeah, a fun summer read. I really enjoyed it. Stay tuned for my review. And okay, so now let's talk about what I'm currently reading and what I'm about to start reading. As many of you know, I am still working through my, this is for a buddy read, but I'm still working through DDay by Stephen Ambrose, reading it with Bill Rutenberg and Brian M.R. We're having a good time. I am a little bit behind. Big surprise. No, I think the other guys are up to, they kind of got ahead of me. So I'm going to try to make up some time this weekend, but there's another big book I've got to finish because I have a review due on Tuesday and another review due Sunday. So I've got a couple of things I need to crank out, and then I can dip back into this, but I'm taking lots of notes, and we are still planning on having a Zoom talk about a book chat when we're finished. We might even try to see, if Brian can join us. He might be off camera, but it could be the three of us having a book chat about DDay by Stephen Ambrose. Really enjoying it. I'm currently reading another book that I have a tight deadline for BookBrowse as well. But this is nonfiction. This is history that I will be reviewing for BookBrowse. Got the UPS guy pulling up, wondering if I've got more books being delivered. It's too much. But I am reviewing for BookBrowse The Missing Thread, A Women's History of the Ancient World by Daisy Dunn, who wrote The Shadow of Vesuvius, A Life of Pliny, which was one of my selections for quarter one of Historathon 2024. So I'm excited to not only just have read. No, I have not finished reading The Shadow of Vesuvius yet. And there go the dogs barking because of the UPS person. One moment. Okay, we're back. Sorry. The dogs don't like the delivery person, but yes, I'll have two of the Daisy Dunn's books read by the end of the year when I do my wrap-up for Historathon 2024. But anyway, I need to make some headway on this one. About 100 pages in. And what's it about? Well, let me see. I'll just give you the Reader's Digest version. In this monumental work, Dunn reconceives our understanding of the ancient world by emphasizing women's roles within it. The Missing Thread never relegates women to the sidelines and is populated with well-known names such as Cleopatra and Agrippina, as well as the likes of Achaemenid, consort Atossa, and Olympias, a force in Macedon. Spanning 3,000 years, the story moves from Minoan Crete to Mycenaean Greece, from Lesbos to Asia Minor, from the Persian Empire to the royal court of Macedonia, and concludes with Rome and its growing empire. The women of antiquity are undeniably woven throughout the fabric of history, and in The Missing Thread, they finally take center stage. All right, and this book is on sale July 30th, so the end of this month, from Viking Books. So check that out. And again, I'll be having a full-length review on this. I've got to write this up by next Tuesday, along with the Beyond the Book article. So heads down on this one all weekend, along with this book, which I've got a little over 100 pages left to read. It's a novel, and I'm reviewing this for Shelf Awareness. This book is coming out August 13th from Random House. This novel is called Peggy. And how could I resist reviewing a novel called Peggy? I have to be the reviewer of this book. Peggy by Rebecca Godfrey with Leslie Jameson. So who is it about? What famous Peggy could this be about? I tell you. Venice, 1958. Peggy Guggenheim, heiress and now legendary art collector, sits in the sun in her white marble palazzo on the Grand Canal. She's in a reflective mood, thinking back on her thrilling, tragic, nearly impossible journey from her sheltered, old-fashioned family in New York to here, iconoclast and independent woman. Rebecca Godfrey's Peggy is a blazingly fresh interpretation of a woman who defies every expectation to become an original. The daughter of 2 Jewish dynasties, Peggy finds her cloistered life turned upside down at 14 when her beloved father perishes on the Titanic. His death prompts Peggy to seek a life of passion and personal freedom, and above all, to believe in the transformative power of art. We follow Peggy as she makes her way through the glamorous but sexist and anti-Semitic art worlds of New York and Europe, and meet the numerous men who love her and her money while underestimating her intellect, talent, and vision. Along the way, Peggy must balance her loyalty to her family with her need to break free from their narrow, snobbish ways and the unexpected restrictions that come with vast fortune. Yeah, and I found this out later when I was looking back at the acknowledgments, and I didn't realize this made me sad. Rebecca Godfrey's final book, completed by her friend, the acclaimed writer Leslie Jameson, following Godfrey's death in 2022, brings to life the woman who helped make the Guggenheim name synonymous with art and genius. Yeah, and Rebecca Godfrey, she got on my radar recently because there's a Hulu series called Under the Bridge with Riley Keough that was written by Rebecca Godfrey. So, yeah. So she passed in 2022, and that is sad. This is her final work. But I'm really enjoying the book. This Peggy Guggenheim has really come to life in this. So, hope to have my review written for this by Sunday. So two books I am chugging through right now, furiously. I've got a lot of reading to do. And then some books coming up for the rest of July. Oh, and there's a couple books that are ebooks that I don't have my Kindle with me to show you any artwork, but I'll be reviewing a book for independent book review called Searching for John DeWitt, which is about the lost letters of a particular family's ancestor who fought in World War I, and they discovered his letters 80 years later in an attic somewhere. So it's going to be a really interesting work of, I think, fiction, memoir, something like that. But anyway, that's on ebook, and I need to start reading that probably Monday, and I'll have to tear through that one. Likewise, I have this book coming up I'll be reviewing for Book Trib. I am reviewing lots of books. This is a new historical fiction novel, also related to World War I, and I need to start reading this one also this weekend, actually. I got to start it. Wages of Empire by Michael J. Cooper. This is put out by Kohler Books. All right. This review is due the end of next week. So in the summer of 1914, 16-year-old Evan Sinclair leaves home to join the Great War for Civilization. Little does he know that despite the war raging in Europe, the true source of conflict will emerge in Ottoman Palestine, since it's from Jerusalem where the German Kaiser dreams to rule as Holy Roman Emperor. Filled with such historical figures as Gertrude Bell, T.E. Lawrence, Winston Churchill, Faisal bin Hussein, and Chaim Weizmann, Wages of Empire follows Evan through the killing fields of the Western Front, where he will help turn the tide of a war that is just beginning and become part of a story that never ends. So that's sufficiently vague and enticing enough. I'm curious to see where this is going to go. I'm looking forward to reading this, and I will be starting it very soon. Wages of Empire. Let me see when this came out. Well, that's interesting. They have no year on this. Okay. Well, I'm sure it'll have to be on a webpage somewhere. Okay. So, Wages of Empire. I'll be starting this one very shortly. Another book I'll be reviewing for shelf awareness. I have to start early next week. This is not, obviously, this is a physical galley. This is not the cover, but it's called Displaced Civilians in the Russia-Ukraine War by Valery Penyushkin, translated from the Russian by Brian James Baer and Ellen Vayner. But it's a Europa edition, so, you know, right now this is just the ARC. But I hope to be put down for a finished copy. Do I have a pub sheet for this? Yes, I do. All right. Well, I'm just holding it up to hold it up. It's not the final. We know this. In Displaced, Russian journalist Valery Penyushkin chronicles the devastating impact of his country's invasion of Ukraine. By uncovering the stories of ordinary Ukrainians thrust into the chaos of war and transformed overnight from citizens into victims and refugees, Penyushkin sheds light on the brutal crimes committed by the Russian regime and offers a necessary act of truth-telling and atonement. Reporting from cities and villages across Ukraine, Penyushkin delves into individual lives shattered by conflict, illuminating the human cost of war beyond the battlefront. Through interviews with people from all walks of life, the book paints a vivid picture of the challenges, choices, and hopes of those caught in the turmoil of war. This is interesting. This is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a call for empathy and solidarity, and a Russian writer's tribute to the courage of the Ukrainian people. It's roughly 250 pages. I don't know if they'll have, photographs or anything in the inserts, but we shall see. Anyway, I'll be reviewing this as well. I got to read and get that going. And then towards the end of the month, I'll have this big bad boy due. And this one is a bound galley. Oh, wow. It's over 500 pages in this bound galley. But I will be reading The Strategists. Churchill, Stalin, Roosevelt, Mussolini, and Hitler. How War Made Them and How They Made War by Phillips, Payson, O'Brien. All right, so it's just a big old honking galley. Yeah, I've got to get cranking on this one as well. How War Made Them and How They Made War. So all about how they were a strategist. I don't have a pub sheet to read to you from, but so this is going to be pretty sturdy read. Oh, and the publisher of this, I should say, is Dutton. Haven't I said in the last video that Dutton has just been cranking out kick-ass history titles lately? Like, I'm just loving all of it. So those are some of the books that I've read recently, not including some ebooks. So there's some of those. These are the ones I've got to work on or start working on. These are the ones I got to continue working on. And in the meantime, I've got great, oh man, I've got so many awesome magazines coming in. I just want to make time for them. Another magazine I really would just love for you guys to check out if you're interested in Christian history and stuff like that. You could get a subscription to this magazine for just making a donation to their site at Christian History Institute. They will send it to you. They don't even care. You could give 5, you can give 10, 15, whatever. They will put you down the list for a subscription to Christian History Magazine. And this is our most recent one, I believe. Yeah, actually, I don't know. I might have a more recent one. This one was from May. Might be a new one coming out, but it's a great magazine, and just a really great, simple history magazine relating to Christian faith in history. And gosh, just to support that institute, $5, $10, $15, and you can get, I think you get 6 of these a year, so bi-monthly. But yeah, I've got Christian history rolling in. I've got Commentary Magazine. I've got a ton of yeah, I've got some recent articles I want to be reading on AI, and this one's about our disaster debt unfolding, which had a really interesting cover. Look at this. Yeah, doesn't open to see America's debt disaster unfold. And then, of course, and then you flip it over. People at Reason do not mess around. Look at this. I've never seen a cover do this. National debt as a percentage of GDP. Look, and then it goes down to, what's the year we're looking at? Oh my God. It's, by 2054, debt is projected to be up to 236% of GDP. Well, I won't be around to see that. I doubt I'll even see my Social Security when I go to retire. That's how bad things are. But anyway, some great articles in here. I wanted to show you this because it kind of follows along with, I haven't taken off the bag yet. I subscribe to Military History Matters magazine, and this was perfect for my, the June, 80th anniversary of DDay. I was trying to show different books that people could read, talk about some different documentaries and podcasts, and I did find a podcast of DDay that is brand new, and I'm going to try to link that one below in the description box in case you're interested. But yeah, this was the June-July issue of Military History Matters, and all, of course, featuring 80 years on DDay, Battle for Normandy. This is a great magazine. The only critique I have of this is that the typeset is so small. Compared to everything around it. But it's a small critique. You know what I'm saying? This is a great military history magazine. So that came across the desks recently. You don't even want to know how many magazines I have on the floor behind me. I'm trying to figure out a way to store, I had a magazine rack at one point, and I'm like, no, this is not a waiting room. So I don't know what to do. But yeah, I've got quite a few magazines of different varieties. Oh, I wanted to show you this one too. Yeah, a couple more came across. I've got the new issue of Ancient Warfare. Rome's Many Enemies, Threats from Within and Without. I've shown you this magazine before, so you guys know all about this magazine. And the artwork. Just love it. The centerpiece, the centerfold. More artwork. Love it. Still getting World War II History magazine. I thought I had... my subscription had stopped, but apparently I'm still subscribing, so I'm still getting these in the mail. This just came the other day. This is the fall 2024 issue. Again, more on the D-Day, and this time African Americans D-Day fight. So that's really going to be interesting. I want to read that one sooner rather than later. Yeah, so I've got a lot of World War II history magazines now coming in. Oh, and I wanted to make you guys aware of this magazine. I'm going to report back after I've read the article. But the good folks at Strand Magazine, if you enjoy your mysteries, your Sherlock Holmes, your, any of the current crop of today's best mystery and thriller writers, the Strand Magazine. I've always been confused about how... I thought I had subscribed to this once. And I only got one issue. So I think it only goes by issue. You can only buy it issue by issue? I don't know. But one of the folks at Strand Magazine said, we are running for the first time ever a story, an unpublished short story by Rod Serling of Twilight Zone fame. And it was about his time in World War II. And this is why they contacted me, because they know I'm into my military history. This is the History Shelf. they said, would you like to take a look at this magazine and show it on your channel? And I said, absolutely, I would. So with this issue of the Strand Magazine, which will be displayed at your whatever newsstand that you go to until the end of the month, I would go there sooner rather than later if you really want to get this story that Rod Serling wrote, which has now been like unearthed or at least shared by members of his family, his daughter, I believe. It's called First Squad, First Platoon. And they've written a very long editorial about how they came to find this story, Rod Serling's abilities as a writer. Yeah, so the editorial itself, and that's written by Andrew F. Gully, managing editor of Strand. It's about a 20 page, I mean, it goes across 20 pages, but First Squad, First Platoon, okay. And I'm going to sit down and knock this out, hopefully this weekend, once I can feel like I'm comfortable with these deadlines. But yes, this book, or sorry, this short story is actually, it goes all the way, it has chapters and everything. Yeah, it goes up to page 27 or something like that. So I'll report back, because I didn't know Rod Serling had written a short story. I didn't know that he had fought in World War II, but I'm not surprised by that. And but so thank you to the folks at Strand Magazine for this complimentary copy, and I'll be happy to read this and tell you what I thought of his story. And I'll enjoy the rest of the magazine too, because obviously I really enjoy mysteries and thrillers, and I would like to figure out the subscription process for this magazine. Whether it's a one-on-one, like one-by-one basis here. Oh, they've got an interview with Robert Little. And I recently just reviewed a book of his a few months ago for Shelf Awareness, A Plague on Both Your Houses. He also wrote The Company about the CIA. Okay, so they got some great interviews in here. Ooh. I'd like to see if I could review for this magazine, actually. They got some great book reviews in the back. Stay tuned, guys. Maybe I can get on board with the Strand. So that came across, and I was really happy to see that, and I'll report back on that. But anyway, guys, I could sit here all day and show you all the different magazines and journals that have come across. Like, I recently just resubscribed to London Review of Books, because I think after my little trial period ends with New York Review of Books, I'm going to cancel New York Review of Books, and I'll stick with the London Review of Books. Why do I say that? It's just because I have so much limited time for reading, and as it is, I am behind on my TLS reading. But also because, well, I'm sure that London Review of Books has its own axe to grind at some points, but I just find the New York Review of Books, it kills me. I don't know why it's so hard to read it anymore. It's so political, and it leans so hard to the left. I just want some centrality in life and in this country, and I can't stand it. I just can't take the New York Review of Books anymore. I know, I'm sorry, guys, but it's a little too, okay? I can't do it anymore. So I'm going to let that one lapse, and I'll just stick with the London Times Literary Supplement and then the London Review of Books. Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, that's just the tip of the iceberg, but I wanted to make a video about just it's been a while since I did a Friday Reads, just talking about my reading life. And I definitely wanted to make a special announcement about the BookBrowse link and the $5 off offer, and just, again, appeal to your reading sensitivities and your discernment about quality book reviews by people who really care about the books that they're reading and their longer form, and I'm there. So hook us up. No, there's no, it's $5 off. It would be nice if I knew that some of you guys out there were following me directly on BookBrowse as a member. That would be so cool. But anyway, If you forget, I'll always have that link in my description box, at least for the next couple months. We're going to see how it works out, just as a, you know, kind of working with BookBrowse as an affiliate, to put that link out there. All right, guys. So I would leave you there. Wherever you are, I hope you are staying cool. I am sorry if you are in the Houston area. I don't know why these people cannot get your power back on, and you are sweltering out there. I am so sorry, because I don't know what I would do without this air conditioner. Yeah, 103 today, 102 tomorrow, 103 on Sunday. It's 99 degrees right now. I just refreshed my weather app. It's 99 degrees. So I'm going to sign off and take this little jacket off, get comfortable somewhere, try to knock out some of these books, and all that good stuff, have a little bite to eat, and try to enjoy the rest of my day. Oh, I should say, but Fridays, I work half day on Friday, so I am actually off work right now, and which is a treat, and I can make these videos for you and get them posted sooner. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you did sign up for BookBrowse. That would be a treat, and I can report back and say, hey, we've got, you know, some people interested. It would be so cool. It would be a balm to my soul and my heart. But thank you so much for staying with me, guys. More videos to come, as always. So happy. I need to say happy reading. Bill, I need a cut line. But no, I should just say I hope you're enjoying your reading. Not a cut line, a tagline. That's what we used to call it in the journalism industry. I was a journalist back in the days when you had to do a I'm going off on a tangent. Everything is computerized now, obviously. But does anyone remember the days when if you ever did work on a newspaper, you had to do what we called the blue lining or whatever it was? You had to like mock up you had to mock up the newspaper with like a printout, put the paste on the back, put it down on a template. Photos had to be placed in. You had to use blue tape to line the edges of the photo, and it had to be perfect. And then you'd have to send it to the editor, and who would proof the hard copy galley. And then we take these big things into the actual like room where they took the printing press, and they just did the. I'm old. Yeah, baby. So I've had some experience. I've done things the old-fashioned way, and do things the new way. But anyway, it's nice just to be chatty with you guys. It's been a while. All right. So until next time, thanks for joining me here, and stay cool out there, guys. Bye.